I'm Jean Hauk, Caitlin Hauk's mom.
I'm Kevin Hauk, Caitlin's father.
I'm Cass, Caitlin's sibling. Painting is easy when you don't know how to do it, but very difficult when you do. Edgar Degas. Hopefully with this speech you'll be able to better yourself as a painter and enjoy what you're doing as you're doing it. So I'm going to go over the different methods of painting that I use in this painting here. I'll go over Ben-Day dots, splatter painting, layering, and shadowing. So now with this, I did this in my art class, and I also enjoy painting in my free time, and I have researched famous artworks and artists. So I'll be going over Ben-Day. So then with the Ben-Day dots, they're like they sound, they're dots. They started out in a printing process for comic books with Benjamin Day Jr. And there was first in the comic books, and they used layering of the dots. They mainly used cyan, magenta, black, and yellow. And then Roy Lichtenstein, he took that and he put it in his paintings in the around 1960s. And that's how it first came out as a painting method. That's from downthetubes.net. But to stay in tradition, you can use those colors, but you don't have to. As in this painting, I used red and orange for a skin tone, and then just blue for her eyes. So how you do it is you take a fine tip brush, you get it wet, and then you have to make sure you scatter the dots when you place them. You do not want to put them in rows, as you'll be able to see the white lines in between, and it would not look as pleasing as if you scattered the dots. The only downfall to this method is that it's very time consuming and can seem tedious, but in the end it's usually pretty worth it because it looks nice. So now I got over with the dots, I'll be going over to splatter painting, everyone's favorite. You're just flinging paint at a canvas. So this was first used by Jackson Pollock in 1939 and all the way into the 50s. That's when it became most popular. And that's from theartstory.org. How you do it is you take a stick or you take the back of a paintbrush, you dip it in your paint, and you fling it at a canvas. So then when you're flinging it, make sure it's in a controlled manner, you're doing it fast, and you're trying to avoid getting so many splatters and dots. Like I got some, but you do want some when you do this. Make sure you cover up the back of your wall or of your floor with any paper to avoid making a mess and to avoid angering your mother. And also, make sure you use, just keep it fast. And make sure you cover up any areas you don't want splatter paint on, like I did over here. So now that I got over with the fun part, moving on to layering and shadowing. Which there is not really any history for this, as almost all artwork uses this. An example of layering and shadowing with an artist is Leonardo da Vinci in his Mona Lisa. He used a lot of gesso layers along with his colors, and he put several layers of that on with his shadows. But I did layering with watered down black paint. You put several layers here for darker, but the more light you want it, you put, like over here, you only put 1 or 2 layers, or with the screen. So that was from Journal's Open Edition. How you do it is you just put layer upon layer, however you want it, where you want it, or you could just put a darker color where you want your shadows to be. But the summary would be that there's several methods, and I hope you enjoyed all of them and you enjoy them in painting. The Ben-Day dot, splatter painting, layering, and shadowing. So just make sure you do this in a more controlled manner. You don't do lines, scatter the dots, use a color you like. And this, make sure you just cover up what you don't want splattered as you are flinging your paint. And with this, just put as many layers as you want and as are needed. So hopefully this would help you and not hinder you, as Degas has said. And hopefully you are able to go on with these methods and not become the next Leonardo da Vinci, but you'll get there at some point.